Hello and welcome to the Kapeel Gupta Career PodShow. And I'm your host, Kapeel Gupta. Today's episode is so powerful that I can firmly assure you after today's episode, you will study your chemistry with a new zeal. So tell me something. Do you remember that summer, maybe you were in class 10th or 12th, when the river near your town or city looked strange? The water was not the usual blue green, it was brown, or sometimes even foamy white. I'm sure my listeners living in Delhi can relate with it. If you've seen River Yamuna in the same sorry state, and you asked your parent or teacher, Ye kya hua? What happened? What has happened to this river? And the answer was always the same: sun, it's pollution. That answer was correct, but it was also incomplete because behind fixing that pollution, behind saving that river, behind making the air breathable again, behind testing the soil where your vegetables grow, there's a real hero. And that hero is an environmental chemist. Imagine getting paid to save the planet, and that is literally the job description of an environmental chemist. So today on the Kapeel Gupta Career PodShow, we are going deep into this career. I'm going to tell you about the scope of environmental chemistry in India and across the world, what the daily work looks like, what skills and qualifications you need, and which universities are the best to study this. And of course, the big one, how much money you can actually make as an environmental chemist. And I'm not going to just give you facts and figures, friends. I'm going to tell you a story. I want you to feel this career. I want you to imagine yourself in the shoes of an environmental chemist. So let's dive in. Hi, I'm Kapeel Gupta, career coach, life mentor, and founder of Study Abroad Academy. I empower students, parents, and conscious professionals to design a fulfilling life and career by aligning their minds, values, and aspirations. I do it with coaching, mindset work, and the game changing power of graphotherapy because students deserve more than just guidance, they deserve transformation. So let me tell you about Priya. She's a 26-year-old girl from Nagpur. She grew up watching the Nag River, which flows right through the city, become dirtier and dirtier every year. As a child, she used to ask her grandmom about the fish that used to swim in that river. And by the time Priya was in college, those fish were mostly gone. She studied chemistry, specialized in environmental chemistry, and today she's working with the Maharashtra Pollution Control Board. She goes to industrial sites, collects water samples, run lab tests, writes reports, and her work directly influences whether a factory gets a green clearance or a red flag. She's 26 years old, she's making a real difference, and she's earning a salary that makes her parents very proud. And this is the scope of environmental chemistry in India right now. And friends, let me be very clear, it's huge. See, India is the world's third largest emitter of greenhouse gases. We have 14 of the world's 20 most polluted cities. The Ganga, the Yamuna, the Sabarmati, our great rivers are fighting for survival. Our groundwater in states like Punjab and Haryana contains alarming levels of heavy metals and pesticide residues. Our soil in industrial belts is contaminated with chemicals. And now here's the good news for you as a career aspirant. All of these problems need environmental chemists to solve them. Every single one. The government of India has been massively expanding environmental regulation. The National Green Tribunal or NGT was established in 2010 and it's becoming more and more powerful every year. It can fine industries, shut down factories and order environmental cleanup. And for all of this, it needs data, scientific chemical data, which means it needs environmental chemists. And then there's the private sector. Every large manufacturing company in India, whether it is Tata, Reliance, or a mid sized pharmaceutical firm in Hyderabad, is required by law to have an environmental management system. They need in house environmental chemists and they also hire environmental consulting firms. Research institutions like CSIR, that is the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, IISc in Bangalore, NEERI, the National Environmental Engineering Research Institute in Nagpur, and TERI, the Energy and Resource Institute in Delhi, are constantly hiring environmental chemistry researchers. And then there are the NGOs and the international organizations like WWF India, Greenpeace India, and the United Nations Environment Programme, which has offices in India and across Asia, all looking for people who understand chemistry and care about the environment. Now, let me tell you about Arjun. He's from Coimbatore. He did his BSc in chemistry from PSD College and then went on to do his master's in environmental chemistry from the University of Toronto in Canada. He's now working for an environmental consulting firm in Vancouver, doing environmental impact assessments for mining companies. His salary? We'll talk about numbers in detail later. But let's just say Arjun's parents have stopped worrying about his future. Internationally, the scope for environmental chemists is extraordinary. In developed countries, United States, Canada, UK, Australia, Germany, Netherlands, environmental protection is a multi-billion dollar industry. The US Environmental Protection Agency alone employs thousands of scientists. Private environmental consulting is a massive sector, and climate change is making environmental chemistry even more critical globally. Countries are signing climate treaties, setting up carbon credit markets, funding green energy transitions. And all of this requires rigorous environmental science and chemistry expertise. The European Union's Green Deal, for example, is creating thousands of new environmental science jobs across Europe. Gulf countries like UAE and Saudi Arabia are also investing heavily in environmental protection as part of their Vision 2030 and similar programs. And with their rapid industrialization and water scarcity challenges, they are actively recruiting environmental chemistry professionals from South Asia, including India. In India alone, the environmental services market is projected to grow at over 8% annually. Yes, 8%, making this one of the most future proof careers you can choose. Okay, friends, now close your eyes for a second. I want you to come with me. It's 7 a.m. on a Tuesday morning. You're not sitting in a boring office, you're in a field, literally. You're standing next to a riverbank near an industrial town in Madhya Pradesh. You're wearing safety gloves and boots. You have a sampling kit in your hand. You are an environmental chemist. And today, a community of 10,000 people is depending on your work because they have complained that their drinking water has been tasting strange for the past 3 months. And you carefully collect water samples from different points along the river, upstream of the factory, right next to the factory's discharge outlet, the downstream where the people draw their water. You label each sample meticulously because in a court case, and this could go to court, every detail matters. You note the temperature, the color, the smell, you take photographs, and by afternoon, you're back in the lab. And this is your second home. You run tests for heavy metals, lead, arsenic, chromium. You check the pH levels, the dissolved oxygen content. You look for traces of industrial solvents. The instruments you work with, gas chromatographs, mass spectrometers, atomic absorption spectrometers, they are sophisticated, expensive, and in your hands, they tell stories that human eyes cannot see. And by evening, preliminary results are in. The chromium levels near the factory's discharge are 7 times above the permissible limit set by the Bureau of Indian Standards. You write up your findings carefully because what you write will be submitted to the Pollution Control Board, and it will determine the future of that factory and, more importantly, the safety of those 10,000 people. And that is one kind of day. But environmental chemistry is not just field work and lab work. Let me give you the full picture. Some environmental chemists work primarily in labs, government labs, private testing labs, research institutions. Their world is precise, controlled, and deeply scientific. They develop new methods to detect pollutants. They study how chemicals break down in the environment. They analyze air quality samples from monitoring stations across cities. Others work in policy and consulting. They translate complex chemical data into language that politicians, judges, and business leaders can understand. They write environmental impact assessment reports, which are legally required before any major construction project, highway, dam, or industrial plant can begin in India. And this is a massive and growing area of work. Then there are environmental chemists who work in industry, at pharmaceutical companies, textile factories, cement plants, power stations. The job is to ensure the company is complying with environmental regulations, to design and monitor waste treatment systems, and to minimize the company's environmental footprint. And then there are those who teach and research in universities and institutes, pushing the frontiers of knowledge, maybe developing new biodegradable chemicals or finding ways to use bacteria to clean up oil spills or studying how microplastics move through ocean food chains. No 2 days are the same as an environmental chemist. You're part detective, part scientist, part storyteller, and part planet saver. So now let us talk about how you actually get there. What do you need to become an environmental chemist? So the most common and straightforward path starts with a BSc in chemistry or environmental science. So this is your foundation. 3 years and you graduate with a solid understanding of chemistry, biology, and the natural sciences. After that, an MSc in environmental chemistry or environmental sciences is highly recommended, and in many good positions it is required. So this is where you specialize. You learn about analytical chemistry for environmental applications, toxicology, environmental law and policy, geochemistry, atmospheric chemistry, and hydrological chemistry. So, if you want to go into research or academia, or if you want to rise to the top of your field, a PhD is the gold standard. Many research positions at CSIR, NEERI, IASCs, and international institutions require a doctorate. So there are also specific certifications that add tremendous value, like the Certified Environmental Professional Designation, courses in Geographic Information Systems or GIS, ISO 14001, Environmental Management Systems Training, and EIA methodology courses offered by various institutes. So, where should you study? In India, the best institutions for environmental chemistry and environmental science include IIT Delhi, IIT Mumbai, IIT Kharagpur, IIT Madras, and IIT Roorkee, all of which have strong environmental engineering and chemistry departments. For pure environmental science, Jawaharlal Nehru University in Delhi, popularly known as JNU, is considered one of the finest. University of Hyderabad, BITS Pilani, and Banaras Hindu University, yes, BHU, also have excellent programs. NEERI in Nagpur, the National Environmental Engineering Research Institute, is directly under CSIR and is the premier environmental research institution in India. Getting into their PhD or postdoctoral programs is a mark of distinction. And if you have dreams of studying internationally, and you should dream big. The top universities for environmental chemistry globally include ETH Zurich in Switzerland, which is consistently ranked as one of the world's best for environmental science, MIT and Stanford in the United States, University of Toronto and University of British Columbia in Canada, and Imperial College London, the University of Edinburgh in the UK are all world class. In Germany, where you can often study for free or very low cost, RWTH, Aachen University, and the University of Munich have outstanding environmental programs. In Australia, University of Melbourne and Australian National University are the top choices. And now, listen carefully because this is very important. A degree will get you in the door, but these skills will build your career. First, analytical skills. The ability to use instruments like HPLC, GCMS, ICP-MS, spectrophotometers. Know these instruments. Love them. Employers in both government and private sector look for hands-on laboratory expertise very specifically. Second, data analysis and interpretation. Being comfortable with statistical analysis, a software like R or MATLAB or even Excel at an advanced level, and the ability to look at data and tell a coherent story. Third, report writing and communication. This is underestimated by most science students. Your beautiful data is useless if you cannot write a clear, precise, well structured report. Practice writing. Read good scientific reports. This skill alone can differentiate you from 80% of your peers. Fourth, knowledge of environmental regulations. In India, this means knowing the Environment Protection Act, Water Pollution Act, Air Pollution Act, EIA notification rules. Internationally, knowledge of frameworks like the EU Water Framework Directive or the US Clean Water Act is valuable. Fifth, field work skills, sample collection, maintaining chain of custody for samples, using field equipment. Many fresh graduates are only comfortable in labs. Those who are equally competent in the field are prized. And finally, soft skills, problem solving under pressure, working in teams across different disciplines, chemists, biologists, engineers, lawyers, and the ability to explain complex chemistry to non scientists. And this last one is a true superpower. See, India's environmental chemistry talent pool is still developing. If you're skilled, curious, and passionate, you're entering a field where demand outpaces supply, and this is your moment. Okay, friends, I'm aware you have been waiting for this section. Let us talk money because passion is important, yes, but you also need to pay rent, support your family, and frankly, live a good life. So let us be completely real. At the entry level, meaning fresh BSc or MSc graduates working in a government pollution control board, a private testing lab, or a small environmental consulting firm, you can expect to earn between rupees 20,000 to 40,000 per month. Then that is roughly 2.4 lakhs to rupees 4.8 lakhs per year. Now I know some of you are thinking that's not very high. And yes, at the entry level in India, it's modest. But here's the thing about this career. It grows fast when you have the right experience and qualifications. With 3 to 5 years of experience, environmental chemists in India, especially those working with good consulting firms, multinational companies, or in senior government roles, earn between rupees 50,000 to 1,20,000 per month. That is 6 lakhs to 14 lakhs per annum. Senior environmental professionals with a decade or more of experience, or those holding PhD qualifications and leading research programs, can earn rupees 15 to rupees 30 lakhs per year, and in some cases, even more. Top environmental consultants who run their own practices can earn significantly higher. Government positions through UPSC, like roles at the Central Pollution Control Board, the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, or CSIR institutes, come with the additional security of government benefits, pensions, housing allowances, and job stability, which adds significant value beyond just the salary number. So now, Let us go international. In the United States, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, environmental scientists and specialists, which include environmental chemists, earn a median annual salary of around 76,000 US dollars, and that is approximately 63 lakhs per year at current exchange rates. Senior professionals and those with specialized expertise in areas like remediation of contaminated sites or air quality modeling can earn well over 100,000 US dollars. In Canada, the median salary for environmental chemists is around 65,000 to 85,000 Canadian dollars per year. In UK, it ranges from 28,000 to 55,000 British pounds. In Australia, environmental scientists earn 60,000 to 95,000 Australian dollars per year. And in Germany and the Netherlands, two of Europe's strongest markets for environmental professionals, salaries range from 45,000 to 75,000 euros annually. And the added advantage is the quality of life, work life balance, and social benefits in these countries. And Gulf countries like UAE offer tax free salaries, a very attractive proposition. Environmental consultants and specialists in the UAE can earn anywhere from 8,000 to 20,000 UAE dirhams per month, which is approximately rupees 1.8 lakhs to rupees 4.5 lakhs per month, tax free. In India, the environmental services market is growing. Abroad, it's already mature and very well paying. No matter where you choose to build your career, there's a strong financial future in the environmental chemistry. So, friends, we have covered a lot of ground today. And I hope that by now, when you close your eyes, you can actually see yourself as an environmental chemist. You're standing by that river. You have a sampling kit in your hand. You're about to run tests that will determine the safety of a community's water. Or you are in a sleek laboratory at an IIT or a CSIR institute using a mass spectrometer to detect pollutants that no human eye can see. Or you're presenting your environmental impact assessment to a government authority, knowing that your work will shape the fate of a forest or a wetland. Now, this is not just a job. Environmental chemistry is a calling. It's a career where your education, your skills, your passion, the needs of a planet all come together in one beautiful, purposeful path. India is at an inflection point. We are a nation that is developing rapidly, and with that comes the urgent need to develop responsibly. The gap between industrial growth and environmental protection needs to be bridged, and that bridge is built brick by brick by environmental chemists. The world is also changing faster than ever before. Climate change, biodiversity loss, water scarcity, soil degradation, these are not distant problems anymore. They are here, they are now, and they need people like you to solve them. You, the Gen Z who grew up watching videos of melting glaciers and plastic filled oceans, you who have the passion, the tech savviness, and the idealism to actually do something about it. Environmental chemistry gives you the scientific tools to turn that passion into real, measurable, life saving action. So, if you're in class 11th or 12th, take up science, specifically chemistry and biology. If you're already a chemistry student wondering which direction to go, consider specializing in environmental chemistry. If you're a graduate wondering about a master's or a PhD, the doors are open and they lead to an incredible career. Research your universities, talk to environmental chemists, do an internship at a pollution control board or an NGO, get your hands dirty, literally. Because in this career, the most meaningful insights often come from that riverbank, from that soil sample, from that smoky industrial air. The planet does not just need activists, it needs scientists. Be both. Be an environmental chemist. Thank you so much for tuning into the Kapeel Gupta Career PodShow. If you found this episode helpful, share it with someone who is figuring out their career path and leave us a review. Your support keeps this show going. I'm your host, Kapeel Gupta. And remember, every career has a story, and your story has begun. See you in the next episode. Take care of yourselves.